Hey, welcome to the Drep and Stone podcast, the podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. I'm Nick.
I'm Kyle.
Kyle.
Hey, Nick. On my way over here,
the
journey that I take, it took me onto the interstate.
Sure.
Got behind a guy that was towing a fishing boat.
Okay. Like a bass boat or like a
a bass boat,
boat?
like a sparkly, like had
like
the
a tracker boat.
I don't know.
Yeah.
To me, it's just a bass boat.
I know that guy.
No joke.
Yeah.
I thought to myself, like immediately, I was like I grew up in a culture that like to look at that, like I got a little turned on, and it was like, man, like that's got to be fun, like to just have that boat and
Just to
go
tow
out
it around.
early in the morning,
Yeah.
and go fish and
Oh.
go home and midday.
Sure.
That's got to be a good day.
That's
But,
life.
like I also grew up in a family where I'm like also like that's a lot of work. I definitely don't want to do that. Like I can't imagine like all the stuff you got to do to like pack up for that and
Yeah.
cleaning the boat.
For
I guess
sure.
when you're done and oh no thanks.
Yeah.
Not interested. So like my journey of like this sounds great to like nah I don't want any part of that was like
Couple mile markers.
yeah just a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
You ever wanted a boat?
I have wanted a boat, and then I look at the price of the boat,
Yeah.
and honestly, what you just said, the upkeep of all of that. And I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
So, my favorite boat is not my boat, and other
for sure.
people's boats.
Yeah, love other people's boats.
Oh yeah, other people's boats, great. There's a guy in our neighborhood that they have. It's not a bass boat, but it's also not like a deep sea fishing kind of boat. No, it's not a pontoon either, but a pontoon. You hear me?
Flat bottom.
No, it's a recreational boat, like an all-purpose kind of thing, right? Like you could use it in a lake and go tubing with it, or you could probably take it into like saltwater flats.
Sure,
kind of thing, right?
Sure.
And when they take that boat out, dude spends probably half a day getting the boat ready, and then easy half a day cleaning the boat when he gets back.
Right.
And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like when I'm home from doing whatever I want to do, I'm home. I don't want to sit there and clean a boat half a day.
Yeah. Now I got to go take an hour to wipe down or whatever.
I'm not doing it. So I know me, what would happen is like, oh yeah, I'll clean the boat every time we get back. And then we get back and then the boat sits there for 3 weeks and then nothing done to
rusting
it.
out.
Yeah, exactly. Or whatever happens to boats.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
The sharks.
I don't know how that works.
Mucus get all over it.
Exactly.
Spray the anti-shark mucus spray.
By Drep and Stone.
Yeah.
New anti-shark mucus spray. But I do love going out on the boat.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I grew up. I had a friend that had a house out on the lake, and we would go out on his boat all the time. And he had a jet ski, and we'd do the whole thing. Like it was a blast.
Yeah, I have my boater's license. Like I can drive a boat,
right?
Theoretically,
right,
by myself. But no,
that's my take too.
Yeah. Plus, then I know like with a boat, you got to buy a truck.
Oh yeah,
I like a truck, but like a trailer.
You got to learn how to back that into the water, and then get it back onto the trailer, out of the water.
Exactly.
I love watching those videos.
Oh, those videos. Oh, I love watching the videos of the people who like sit at boat ramps. And they're like, you got it. And like, it just pisses people off. And like, part of me wants to do it.
Pressure.
Oh, yeah. Part of me wants to do it.
It's like that first tee.
That's exactly it. Yeah. So
behind me is watching. Everybody knows the process.
Exactly. But I don't want to do the process.
Yeah,
I'm out.
I'm too lazy for that.
You know what I do want to do?
What do you do?
I would love to drink some whiskey.
Oh, brilliant idea.
Thank you. I have an occasion. Well, yeah, it's 250 something episodes. No, it's over 260 episodes at this point. I know. This is episode 261.
Damn.
I know. Dude,
crazy.
We're coming up on like our 5th anniversary.
I know. We got to remember it this year so we don't
but
accidentally record and not remember it.
We shouldn't though, because like we've never like remembered the other ones.
I think we remembered our first one.
Yeah, because we did the redemption. We did again or revisit.
I think we've always. I don't
remember.
I think we definitely missed last year for sure.
Oh, for sure we did.
But I'm pretty sure. Like I know we've done it at least twice, 2 other times, other than the OG.
You know what? Our podcast birthday might be when we're in Denver.
Son of a gun. Son of a gun.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we'll put it on the calendar.
Okay.
Kyle, I want to get to the whiskey, but I want to invite everyone to sip a whiskey along with us.
Yeah, totally.
Or sip a glass of water.
Yeah. That's what makes this fun.
Kool-Aid.
Kool-Aid.
Orange juice.
A little Capri Sun.
Sure. Get you that Capri Sun.
It's that time of year. It's Dr. Pepper season.
Ooh.
I've been in Fansville.
Wait, Is that right?
Depends on where you're listening.
Okay.
What you're watching. I
Okay.
think it's Fox.
Yeah. So grab whatever's handy, grab whatever's striking your fancy at this moment, and have a pour along with us.
Yeah, join along.
What'd you bring us this week?
I got a little bottle. It's an old one.
Old
Enough to vote.
Yeah.
It's the Knob Creek 18-year-old.
Yeah. I have not had this.
Yeah, no, you haven't. I don't think you have.
No, I haven't. I mean, I know that you've got a couple sips out of that bottle.
Yeah.
You
for
got
sure.
this a couple months ago?
Yeah, probably like beginning of summer.
Yeah.
Into spring.
Yeah,
somewhere.
I remember you texting me and I went, actually, I might have been in Scotland when you texted me.
Well, or on your way or
Or-
something
right,
like that.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It was right around that time
Yeah.
for sure.
Where'd you find this little beauty?
No, I got it in this like customer reward program that I'm a member of.
Yeah, we know that program. Fairly rare bottle to have.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it before to
Yeah,
buy,
yeah.
but I don't think I've ever seen it at MSRP. I think the only other times that I've ever seen it, it was like, this is marked up a little higher than I wanted to pay for it.
Yeah. Have we even said what it is? I mean, again, titles and stuff. You did?
Yeah.
What'd you say?
I said it was a Knob Creek 18-year-old.
Okay. Just check it.
Yeah.
Check
Just in
if-
case nobody was listening, it is the Knob Creek 18-year-old.
Is it the Knob Creek 18-year-old? Yeah. Okay. Can we stop talking about the bottle and put the whiskey in the glass?
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty bottle.
Oh no, it is for sure.
I like
a
the
pretty
label. I like the crimson. It's not really crimson, more
It's
maroon.
like brown, maroon, yeah.
Maroonish.
Like dark red.
Yeah. I mean, we've featured the 12-year-old on the podcast before.
We have. Did we have the 15?
I've never had the 15. I don't think we did the 15.
I think I've had the 15, but I think you're right. I think we haven't done the 15.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had
Yeah.
the 15. You see, they've got a 10-year-old rye out now.
That's okay. That's what I was thinking. I was like, they just had something else that came out recently.
Yeah.
Yeah, 10-year
That
rye.
and their Bull Rye.
Yeah. Not as good as the Drep and Stone Bull Rye, though.
No, did you see that post I made?
I did, yeah.
That was a great Bull Rye. That was really damn
You just
good.
like mix and mix?
Yeah, I just did half and half.
Yeah.
JD Rye.
Yeah,
You ready?
I am. Ooh. Damn. Thank you, sir.
Bourbon's in the air. Everywhere you look around, bourbon's in the air. Okay, in the glass.
In the glass.
100 proof.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Holy sh!
Amazing it was able to hold on to that proof.
100 proof at 18 years
18
old.
years later.
That is fantastic. Like you think of, a lot of old scotches, a lot of them are at that 46 mark just because you're losing so much.
Yeah.
Man, it is dark.
Yeah.
It's like good tanned leather dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not as dark as last week's High West cask strength.
Yeah.
But that's dark.
Yeah.
Mahogany, maybe?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm learning some
I
lingo.
like that.
Okay. 100 proof. I'm excited. Oh man.
I get a lot of cherry and a lot of oak on those.
Absolutely. It smells old. It's
Yeah.
like it smells like
It smells like an old bourbon.
it does. It smells like cherry and the oak is aged.
Yeah.
Dank in a way. Not in a bad way, but like wet wood. Dank.
Yeah. I was gonna
Does
say
that make sense?
mold.
Not
Not
mold.
mold, but like I know what you mean. Like, yeah, like just wet.
Like musty.
old wood.
Yeah. Like you walk
after
into
rain.
Yeah, you walk into an old house. Like the house doesn't smell bad, it just smells like an old house. And in the same way, this kind of smells not like it smells like an old house, but it just smells old.
Yeah, this old house.
Yeah. Ooh.
Thanks, Bob Vila.
You still alive?
Huh? But yeah, now I've started to notice like in older bourbons, like they
Yeah.
do have like this old oaky, leathery kind of note.
Yeah.
That I think you only get in those kind of older aged
Absolutely.
bourbons.
And I think fortunately for us, we're now being able to experience those cuz
Yeah.
I mean, hell man, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, an ancient bourbon was 10 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it felt that way. I know that there was always older bourbons, but like you were hard pressed to find anything over 10 years.
Yeah. Not on a shelf.
No, but now you can find pretty regularly stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, there's that beamy note. I was looking for it.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Rich nose.
rich. It's not just peanut brittle. It's like peanut toffee brittle with a little funk on it. Man, I love that beamy note.
Give a little. Did you roll it?
No, I didn't.
It's like a vanilla cream, like snow cream.
Totally. I was like, what is it? Oh yeah. I know we've said it before for some other bourbons, but like those cowtail candies.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of those.
Yeah, that creamy vanilla center.
Nickname in college.
Creamy center.
No, Vanilla Center.
Oh.
Yeah, it's when I played football. Dang, that is a fantastic nose. Just
Yeah.
bottle that in a little spritzy bottle. You don't need no cologne. You don't need no cologne.
Okay.
All right.
Enough.
Okay. Enough sniffing. Time for sipping. Whoa. That's a bit of a roller coaster on that palate.
Yeah.
Whoa. Ooh. Like that's the same sip for everybody who's counting. Like,
Oh.
Initially, I'm hit with oak. Like that is the prominent note for me is wood.
All the way through.
Lumberyard wood.
Yeah.
Intense oak.
Right.
It's oak, and then it's vanilla sweetness, and then it becomes toffee sweetness, and then it goes back to this bitter that's not oak bitter, and then it washes over with the proof.
Right.
That's the journey.
Yeah. Like, I feel like we always talk about like the roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
And like this one specifically, it stays straightforward the whole time.
Yes.
It's like you're on a straightaway.
Yeah.
And it goes up and down, but it just stays in the same direction. Like everything is within the same
Agreed.
realm the whole time.
Agreed.
You don't ever go left and right.
Yeah.
You don't take turns,
Yeah.
but you definitely do go up and down.
And I think it's what I think you mean, and tell me if I'm wrong, but the notes are all there. They don't change. They're all the same notes, but each note is accentuated in the crest of the hill, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just has, each note has a moment for its hill for it to pop.
I think that like base level oak is absolutely there throughout.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that's
Wow.
your ground level.
Yeah.
Like, you never go below that.
Right.
You always come back to it.
Can I say I expected sweeter on the palate?
Oh, really?
Like I didn't get a whole lot of sweet on the nose. I mean, I know that like all of our descriptors like lean that way, but it wasn't sugary sweet. I expected sweet on the palate, not only because of age, but also in some ways because of proof. Like you've got 100 proof bourbon. I expected to be sweeter.
Yeah.
And it's not. And I'm not disappointed by that by any means.
Yeah. It's not like overwhelmingly sweet. It's there, but it's controlled.
Yeah, controlled's good. This is complex, man.
Yeah.
Like wow, Knob Creek.
Yeah. I think it's just the complexity that you get from those older whiskeys.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all there, and it's fun.
Wow.
We always talk about like younger whiskeys as being like bright and a touch, maybe sour.
Yep.
Having just like that little punch
Yeah.
about them. And this one is all so mellow.
Mm-hmm.
Plenty of flavor and everything. I think the 100 proof spot on.
Yeah, perfect.
I mean, I would try it.
Oh yeah, but
120.
I think
I'd be
if you
curious.
go to 120, like the Knob Creek on the shelf, it's at 120.
Right.
It can be too challenging.
Yeah, and spicy.
Spicy. Right.
Where this is all just
Mellow.
more just mellow and rich and syrupy.
Like it makes me want to put on my mellow 70s gold playlist and like just slippers and a smoking jacket,
Yeah.
maybe a pipe,
Yeah.
and just like hang out.
Yeah, just chill, just vibe it out.
Yeah, man,
Lovely pour.
lovely pour. Like I don't say that often these days with bourbon specifically,
Right.
just because I don't know if I'm more into scotch right now, but like I guess my whiskey journey, I'm not surprised by bourbons as much anymore.
Right.
And then I'm hit with something like that. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's why I
Nice
love bourbon.
curveball.
Well, definitely a nice curveball, and then like a nice familiarity too.
Right.
It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
I remember
refreshing.
why. Like literally the other day I had a pour of Old Granddad 114 and I was like, oh yeah.
Right.
I remember why I love you.
Yeah.
And I remember why I love bourbon.
Yeah.
And there you go.
I've been very much, certainly since we got into the bourbon months,
Yeah.
but even a little bit before that, I've been very much on a bourbon and rye kick. I haven't really touched scotch except for when we recorded the last time, probably well over a month. And it has been like very nice to get back into bourbon and appreciating it again and enjoying drinking it again. Pretty much ever since like we finished up the summer of cocktails.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been very bourbon forward.
I've been more rye forward. I've been trying to get through some ryes because I got some ryes on the shelf that I'm like, I got to get through those.
Right.
And I've enjoyed going through those and start to like, oh yeah, I remember that's what I like.
Right.
So you and I did something a couple weeks ago together
Okay.
that I'm actually surprised about. And I wanted to bring this up and talk about it. I know.
I thought we were never going to talk about that.
No. Oh. Yeah, no, we're not talking about that.
Oh.
Yeah, I wouldn't bring that up in polite company.
Okay. What happens on the 18th green stays on the 18th
Correct.
green.
Yeah, correct. But before I bring this
It's not
up,
my fault. It's right by the parking lot.
Who put that there?
Dumb idea.
Before we do that, I want to ask a favor of all of our friends, and that's go rate Drep and Stone wherever it is you're listening to this podcast right now.
Yeah, give it a little like,
Yeah, it's super easy.
little star.
A comment? Did
Heart.
you know that there are comments now, especially if you're listening on Spotify?
Yeah, people are commenting all over our stuff on Instagram and things.
Yeah. So like, well, if you're listening,
They're not shy.
No, they're not. And if you're listening to the episode on like Spotify or wherever, just a quick comment or a thumbs up or just like tell us your favorite whiskey or whatever.
Yeah.
Like that helps the podcast so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's that easy.
Engagement.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Things that they favor engagement.
Yeah.
Okay. Now that we've talked about supporting the podcast a little bit, you and I, we went to see a movie a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, we did.
And I'm surprised by this because knowing you as long as I've known you, you've never struck me as a horror movie person.
Yeah, no, I'm not at all.
In fact, like I don't think other than seeing a prequel to this film, which everyone can read in the title, I don't think we've ever really talked about horror movies.
Nope. It is not my jam.
In fact, it's something that we've always thought about talking about, or I've always thought about talking about around Halloween. And every time you're like, nah, I don't really have
no way to say it.
nothing
to
I
contribute.
don't really have a horror movie. But you and I went and saw what I consider to be a horror movie.
Yeah.
We went and saw Alien Romulus.
Yeah.
And I want to, first of all, I want to talk about the Alien franchise as a whole because
Sure.
I love it.
Yep.
But I want to talk about like why that one over like any number of horror movies we could have gone to see, because I like some horror. I would say I definitely like more horror than you do.
Yes, for sure. I mean, I couldn't name you another horror movie like The Ring.
Did you see it?
Saw that
Okay.
way back.
Sixth Sense?
20 years ago.
Sure.
I saw Sixth Sense.
Yeah, I think it's horror.
Is it?
It's more
I feel like
thriller,
that
maybe.
That leans more like, I mean, it's just more like what are the it's been, I haven't seen it since it came out. So
Yeah.
like, but like, are there scary moments in
Uh,
Sixth Sense? I feel like it's always more just kind of like intrigue and like mystery and
I think there are some scary, like, whoa kind of moments.
yeah. I guess historically,
Yeah.
the jump scare used to be a horror element.
Sure.
And
yeah.
I feel like it's so much more common nowadays. Like
Yeah.
you'll get a jump scare in
In
a
a Marvel-
Pixar movie,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like
for sure.
like I feel like they just use them, and so I don't really consider
Okay.
a jump scare like necessarily horror in and of itself.
Okay,
anymore.
but like you didn't see like the Babadook.
nope,
Yeah.
didn't see that. Didn't see any of the Saws.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, those aren't my jam. Like
Yeah.
I don't like those.
yeah,
The first one was like the only one I was like, okay, I can tolerate this.
Right.
After that, it just became gross.
yeah. None of the purges.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like just like that. That's what I think
Okay.
of when I think horror. I think of like gore and
Right.
that sort of stuff.
Okay.
And, you know, it has its clientele. and
Sure.
I'm just not a part of it.
Yeah. Okay. So then why Alien Romulus?
The Alien franchise, you know, for me, certainly very recently. Like when we went and saw Prometheus,
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Me too.
Like
Yeah.
I like the certainly the sci-fi. I think a lot of the perhaps the issues that I don't really enjoy about like things that happen here is like it's too contextualized. Like it's it's too relevant.
Sure.
You know, whereas like a space horror, like I'm never going to be in outer space, and like, but like I definitely think outer space is probably terrifying.
Oh yeah.
But like I still like I love the aesthetic.
Okay.
Like I love the ships and the incredible sense of like solitary experience that must be.
Isolation, right?
Yeah, of like you probably don't hear anything unless you've got music playing or something like. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it is very just like creepy as hell all the time because you know, just on the other side of this sheet of aluminum foil is the
What's the line in Interstellar like? Outside of this is just nothingness. I think Romilly says it.
Yeah,
and like just nothing.
or like the
millions
original tagline of
Right. No
in
one,
space,
no
nobody
one
can hear you scream.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's just I like it. I like the space horror, and I think it's just because it puts you somewhere else. But then I can appreciate the horror aspect of it.
Yeah,
It's more fantasy.
I think it's more science
Starts to dip-
fiction.
It is,
Yeah.
but I just mean like
I see what you mean.
the xenomorph is kind of like a dragon. You know,
Sure.
it kind of leans into that almost like fantasy element for me.
Like this is plausible, but it's not possible kind
Right.
of thing, or
Right.
or maybe the other way around.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. For me, like in terms of horror movies, I'm right there with you. Like, I don't like a lot of the blood, guts, and like, people getting dismembered kind of thing.
Right.
But I'm not necessarily like, this does happen in all Alien movies in some way, but it's not the same as in like, Hostel and you mentioned Saw and things like that. So those horror movies, because there's not like a richness of story there. Because what I'm more interested in is I'm okay with being scared, but I like the story that's being told.
Totally.
And I love science fiction.
Yeah.
I
need a good narrative to go along
exactly.
with it.
And especially like I love space movies. Like one of my favorite films is Interstellar. Obviously I just mentioned it.
Right.
And so to add like another, what if this shit goes wrong?
Yeah.
Because
is Alien, the Alien franchise, is that Jaws in outer space?
It's not that. What
Is that Jaws and Interstellar had a baby?
Oh yeah,
and it's aliens?
that's exactly probably what it is. It's probably why I like it. Yeah, because we definitely need a bigger boat because this little boat is not.
Yeah. Not enough places to hide.
You said that I literally had like I think like what I love about Alien is that it, and the franchise as a whole, not just Romulus, is that it takes like the inherent, and maybe it's an American thing, but the inherent hope that space is.
Right.
And like the final frontier, this kind of Star Trekian, like this is where, we're meant to now explore. We've explored Earth, even though we really haven't, but now we're meant to explore other places. And then it like, yeah, but shit can go wrong quick.
Right.
Like not just the, Houston, we have a problem, but like, what if there is another life form?
Yeah.
And what if that life form, its only purpose is to breed, repeat,
and
breed,
consume.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Terrifying in all the best ways.
Yeah, for sure.
I know you mentioned Prometheus, and we saw Prometheus together.
Yep.
What was your relationship to the Alien franchise before that, and maybe since?
For me, like I was always aware of it.
Yeah.
Like growing up, like it's just one of those things that's in pop culture, and like
Sure.
you're certainly aware of it. But I never watched them. I saw clips, on TBS, TNT, whatever, but never sat down and watched any of them. Prometheus was actually probably my first actual watch of a film in the franchise.
Wow. Which is not a bad place to start because technically that's the first one chronologically.
Yes, yeah, at this point in time.
Yeah.
Right. But my most concrete connection to the franchise was the Great Movie Ride at the Disney MGM studios back in the day.
Wow.
Yeah, they had like the alien section and the alien came
down
out of the ceiling.
Yeah.
And what's really funny though, so in gearing up for Romulus, like I watched the trailer. We were watching another movie, and we saw the trailer for
Deadpool and Wolverine. Yeah,
yeah, for sure. And like immediately, I was like, I want to go see that. Yeah, I really want to go see that.
Like you literally, I think in Deadpool and Wolverine, like leaned over, like,
I was like,
oh yeah,
that looks good.
see that.
And so I started watching all of them. I started with the first one, and the really funny thing for me in watching that was that they nailed the sound effects in the ride, in the Great Movie Ride.
Oh yeah.
And like I heard all of those things again, so it was like really nostalgic.
Yeah.
Oddly enough, to watch that movie, but that movie is so perfect.
It really truly
is. In terms of like tension and intrigue and what's going to happen. Actually, like this summer, like in one of my flight movies, I watched Life. Have you ever seen Life?
No.
It's Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal and Rebecca Ferguson.
Yeah.
It's essentially a remake of Alien. Except it's not a xenomorph. It's a different form. It takes a different form, but it's still more or less attempting to do the same thing.
Right.
It literally is just a remake of Alien, almost beat for beat, but really, really intriguing, really interesting movie. So I watched that. So then watching Alien, I was like, yeah, Life was good. Alien is so much better.
Oh yeah.
And because of the time period that it was made with the practical effects and everything, like it has such a more of a gritty, grungy aesthetic to it.
Sure.
But it's also futuristic.
Yeah. Like you can imagine like Sigourney Weaver being legitimately scared in some of those scenes.
Yeah.
Like I think you can palpably see it on her face.
Right.
Of like, wow, this is actually like, it's kind of terrifying.
Right.
And I mean, I recognize that she's a good actor, but like,
Yeah, but I feel like that was I think that was one of her first roles.
I think so. Yeah. And especially like in obviously the situation where you mentioned like practical effects of like seeing these people that you've seen outside of these suits.
Yeah.
But now like in this like, oh, this is terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of that stuff they hadn't rehearsed,
Right. Yeah.
and it was just them reacting to it.
Right.
His chest is bursting open. Gross.
Yeah. So you went back and you watched all of them.
I haven't finished 3 and 4.
Okay.
And I didn't watch any of the Alien Predator
Nah, I don't.
stuff.
Listen, I know people love them. I don't count it.
Yeah, no, I watched Alien and then Aliens, and then I hopped back and rewatched Prometheus, and then I watched Covenant because I missed Covenant when it came out and enjoyed every bit of all of it.
Yeah, me too. Like I love the character of Ripley as a whole. Like even as a kid. So my relationship, like I remember being quite young, and we've talked about this. My family was unusually permissive.
Yeah, I mean mine was too.
Yeah,
and just for whatever reason, I guess my dad just didn't ever get into Alien.
It wasn't a thing. Like for me, I remember being quite young and watching it. Like it was probably on, like you said, TBS or something.
Right.
But watching the whole thing, and even as a young kid going like, damn, that woman is a badass.
Right.
Like capital B-A.
Yeah. I mean,
like,
wow. I don't know if I could say the original, but like one of the original. Like
for sure, at least within the modern filmic era, like original badass.
That's the ultimate question.
What?
Why does Ripley work and Ray doesn't?
I think it's because... I mean,
that's a huge.
No.
And this may need to get cut out.
I think it is, but I have an answer for you.
Okay.
I think it's because at some point Ripley is it in a lot of ways. Like she's the. I mean, in a lot of cases, like she's the last one standing.
Right.
But like, it's that she is an equal from the beginning. That she is like amongst this crew. She is with this crew, and like shit just happens, and like here she is.
Right.
And so like you never, even now going back and rewatching it. Like I recognize that, you know, the character and what she's supposed to be, but like she doesn't become this like, oh, someone should save her, or like she needs someone else to help her. And I think that's where Ray fails, is that she needs someone else to help her. She needs to seek the help and advice of someone else, and that person is male.
That, and I think too, like they do such a good job of making Ripley the voice of reason.
Yeah.
She, you know, especially in the first movie, she knew, don't bring that on board.
Mm-hmm.
Don't let him come on board.
Yeah.
No, don't open that door.
Yeah.
She understands the protocol, and she's like the only one willing to like stick to it.
And if I'm not mistaken, in Resurrection, which you haven't seen yet, I think she's like, why did you bring me back?
Right.
If I remember, it's been a little while since I've seen Resurrection, but like
that makes sense.
When she wakes up, she's
cloned.
like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Like, no, this was something you should never have done.
Right.
Because this is what happens.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. Whereas, like in some cases, Ray.
So immediately, like we're trusting you.
Exactly,
we understand that you get it.
Yeah. Whereas Ray is almost this like pseudo damsel in distress. So then you almost don't believe. In the same way you believe in Ripley.
Right.
We're like, no, you are the voice of reason. You are an intelligent person. You are the thing. You know what I mean? And so like Ray has to then in some ways earn it. And I don't know if the films allow her to do that. To me, that's the reason why.
Yeah.
And that's why Ray doesn't quite land with me.
Right.
And we've talked about that before.
Yeah, for sure.
But I remember being, like I said, being young, watching Aliens, Alien 3, and then Resurrection, and just like even being a young kid being like, yeah,
right,
I love this space stuff. I love this character. Like I'm still freaked out by the body horror stuff,
right,
as a kid. And then like when we went and saw Prometheus, I was like, oh, yes. Even like giving me the origins of some of these things. Yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, to connect the space engineer, is that what they call him?
Yeah, the engineer.
Yeah, the engineer. Like to go back in Prometheus and see how he got there.
Yeah.
And then like then we woke up one that's like was sitting over there. Like
yeah,
just such a cool
it's so like, cool
concept.
Well, and to me, I mentioned richness of story. Like the films are great, but then there's all this like background information that if you really want to nerd out and get into like all the machinations of the Weyland-Yutani Corporation or the Weyland Corporation, Yutani like you can do all that stuff.
Sure.
And then against a film that is horror and is space and is sci-fi.
Right. So when we were watching Romulus,
yeah.
Within the first like 5 minutes of the movie, I leaned over to you and I said, I love the fact that like in every other movie, at least the ones that I had seen, there was always this sense of positivity at the beginning of the film.
Yeah.
It's we're out to explore, we're out to discover, or we're on a mission. We've received a signal that we need to go
help.
Yeah. There's a sense of like urgency, kind of a thing. And then they flipped that in Romulus, and right from the get go, this place is shit.
Yep.
We don't like it.
We need to go somewhere else.
Yeah, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
And so there was this. I liked the change in drive
For sure.
where almost all the other ones, it was a sense of like positive direction.
Right.
And this one was like, let me just escape
Well,
what this is.
yeah, I thought like when you leaned over and said that, my mind immediately went to, well, this is a commentary on kind of like this capitalistic perspective in a way.
Right.
Of like prior to this and in the 70s and 80s,
Yeah.
it was like, yeah, you
Capitalism
go
was
big.
great.
Yeah, you go
Yeah.
big company.
Yeah.
And then I think in some ways what they're doing with this is like, okay, yeah, but here's what happens when a company goes unchecked.
Right.
And here's what happens when something goes too far.
Right.
And so like then you have this, which it's supposed to be set right after Alien.
Right.
And so it's kind of the bridge between that and the rest of the things that ensue.
Yeah.
Well, what I love about horror movies and movies of this sort in general is the analysis that like you can link to kind of like modern perspectives. And if you view horror movies across the decades, you can kind of see like these are manifestations of worries of kind of the populace, if you will. And that's what I like about horror movies. And not just the, the scary and the gory and the, whatever, but like what these represent. And I think almost more so than positive movies, and positive movies, I'm thinking like a really large umbrella, things that aren't horror.
The rest of
cinema. No, I think more so than the rest of cinema, what horror does is it like throws those negative things in our face and says, here, deal with them.
Sure.
Because we want to push them away, and horror says, no, boom, here it is.
Yeah. Certain horror. I think there's also horror that's just like horror for horror's sake.
Sure.
Where it's like, there's not much narrative.
Well, I think like even,
and it's just like we're either gonna try to like make
gross you out. Yeah.
just
I mean, I don't disagree. Like it becomes kind of a how far can we push it?
Right.
How gross can we make it? How
and I'm
squeamish can we?
I'm not here for that.
No, like
where what Alien does so good is like it gets you invested in that world.
Yeah.
And then it adds in this terror element that you have the need to escape, and you're rooting for somebody to escape,
right?
And you just don't know if they're gonna make it or not,
right? And it's not the same way of like the kind of like the unthinking serial killer, like a Jason Voorhees or a Michael Myers or something like that.
Right.
Like this is an animal. This is an animal.
Yeah,
and like it's you against nature.
Yeah,
because that's what this is.
Right.
It's Ripley and obviously other characters against nature.
Yeah. Another aspect that I love about this franchise is their take on AI.
Oh yeah,
and all the synthetic life forms.
Yeah.
Because they're always like, you've always got your main character, and every single one of them, the next main character is
the AI.
But it's also like overarching over the entire series.
Exactly.
The AI is the main character.
Sure.
Like David in Prometheus and Covenant.
Yeah.
He's the main character.
Yeah.
He's not the main character in either of those individual movies. I guess he probably is in Covenant.
Yeah.
You could
or
argue.
maybe antagonist at the very least, which I could say.
I would still think it's his story.
No, I'm saying like he's the antagonist, but he is the central character. Sure.
Yeah. The whole story is about his journey.
Absolutely.
But just the aspect of like that's the next evolution.
Oh yeah.
And like we create you create that, and
that
so on and so
us,
yeah,
right?
and that comes back wild.
Yeah.
Just love it so much.
And I love the kind of like prescience of it too. It's like this is what happens again when these things go unchecked.
Right.
And like we have the ability, but will we? Will we stop
dollar
it? Signs.
Exactly.
So,
who cares?
Exactly.
But that what was the AI in Romulus?
Andy.
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 And I liked his kind of new take that they put on it of like he's a little bit of old tech.
Yep.
So he's a little bit run down. The fact that they could like update his software, and he becomes a different person.
Yeah.
And that was so effective.
It was.
Because they'd
really
never
was.
done that before in any of the movies of like changing the AI.
No. and
in
their
the
directive.
narrative.
Yeah.
So cool
So good.
and like terrifying.
Yes.
Because he still had like the same kind of
Exactly.
understanding from what's his name?
Andy.
Yeah. He still had Andy's understanding, but now with this updated stuff, like it changes directive and his entire character.
And
it
to
was
me,
so
it's
well done.
that's what the Alien films as a whole does well. Is like, yes, you have this baseline terror of the xenomorphs,
Right.
but then like the real terror is the other thing.
Right.
You know, it's his AI, whether it's AI
Or
and
it's
Mother,
the Utani
or it's
Corporation.
Utani or Weyland Utani. Like it's all of those things. So it's like, okay, you have nature, but you also have something else that's trying to manipulate nature eventually or whatever, and like it's all just going all bad. It's all bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also good.
Oh, it's so good. I love those movies, and I think like they're not as scary as a lot of people like make them out to be. Like there are frightening moments, sure, but like to me, it's more sci-fi space than it is like body horror.
Yeah, me
disgusting.
too. I mean, it certainly has that, and I feel like Romulus had that more so almost than any other one. Like it was definitely more sexualized in a
some
way.
ways, yeah.
But at the same time, like I thought it was interesting that you would even categorize it as horror.
Yeah.
Because I think when the first one came out,
Yeah.
totally, that's horror. Like having an alien pop out of your chest, freaky as hell. But like nowadays, I just don't know that I would categorize it that way.
Right.
You know, like to me, it is just kind of more still scary space.
Yeah. No, I get what you mean.
You know?
Yeah. But you got anything else?
No.
I do have a request.
What's that?
I would love everyone to support the podcast.
Yep.
By telling someone about Drep and Stone.
Easy enough.
You're listening to Drep and Stone on your, listening device. Just pop out your earbud.
Yep.
Hey, you
Yes.
heard about Drep and Stone?
I'm sorry?
It's a podcast where two friends raise a glass and have a conversation. Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone.
No, I haven't heard that.
Oh, well, now you have. You should go check it out.
How do I do that?
Wherever it is you get great podcasts.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I love a great podcast.
Good. You're going to love this one.
What do they talk about?
Everything from AI to zipper etiquette.
Wow.
I know.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. They have over 260 episodes.
No kidding.
Yeah. You've got some catching up to do.
All right. Well,
I suggest start with the newest one, though.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about Alien Romulus. Yeah. It
Just
just
saw
released.
that the other night.
Oh, yeah. It's really good, and they liked it too, so you should go listen to it.
Okay.
All right. See you later.
Yeah. See you, buddy.
It's that easy, Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only favor I ask of people.
Yep. Easy enough.
We also would love it if you tell us what do you think about the Knob Creek 18.
Yeah. What's your favorite Knob Creek expression?
Oh, that's tough.
Have you tried that burr eye?
No, I haven't. But I'd like
I mean,
to.
I was talking about to our listeners.
To the other people.
Have you tried that one, or maybe you've had that single barrel 120 proof?
I've had that one.
That one slaps.
Yeah. Have you had the rye?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Try them all.
We'd also love to know, what do you think about the Alien series?
Yeah. Which one's your favorite?
Ooh. Well, you can get in touch with us through email. That's drepandstone@gmail.com. You can also get in touch with us through social media.
It's always one word, Drep and Stone, DREP and Stone. Find it, like it, share a thing, comment on a thing, and, we'll reply back to your things.
Yeah, and while you're on the interwebs, just hop on over to Patreon and support us there, too.
Easy enough.
Patreon.com/drepandstone.
Yeah.
On that note, hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
May your glass overflow.
And your ass never show. Cheers, buddy.
Cheers.